Have you ever felt just invisible? You're not there. You're showing up, you're doing your part, and crickets. Nothing. No one is listening. That happened to me a couple of times recently. And what I realized when I got to looking back at it is I reacted very differently to two situations where I felt invisible. And it got me thinking and kind of exploring all of the different ways that we react to situations and why. Why do we react the way we do in very similar situations, but we react in different ways? I'll give you a quick rundown on these two situations. One incident happened while I was traveling. And I was going to a very small airport. I had to travel about an hour to get to the airport. It was for the first bank of flights. So you get there really early in the morning. By the time I got there, I found out that the flight had been delayed by about 3 hours. I come back up to the counter at my designated time, and there's no one else there except one gentleman being helped by the one agent that they had at the counter. So I stood there waiting, and while I was waiting, another guy came up next to me. Another agent comes up to the counter and calls this guy up. And so I was like, oh, he's probably first class, right? He's a lot more important than I am, so that's fine. In a couple of minutes, a couple comes up behind me, and they're talking amongst themselves, doing whatever. But the woman is slowly moving up next to me. And as the agent, the original agent, finishes with the gentleman that was there when I arrived, she made eye contact with the woman next to me. And this woman starts moving forward as if she's going to go over to the counter and be helped next. Well, I just kind of bristled up and I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Am I invisible here? And I think I even verbalized that, like, hello, am I invisible? Because I've been standing here waiting this whole time. She was like, oh, and then I went on and got taken care of. The next incident that happened was just a few days ago, and I was at a meeting with a group I really love and admire, and we have this segment of the meeting called Blow Your Horn. You pay a certain amount to be able to do a little bragger, right? So a big announcement from work, maybe you've gotten promoted, or maybe there's a promotion at work, and you can talk about all of those things. Some people even share pictures of their grandkids. So whatever you're proud of, whatever you want to shout to the rooftops, you can. I had paid my money in advance, and there were several people that had stuff to talk about. And so there was a lull, and I wanted to announce the pre-order of my 30 Days of Inspiration and Insight book, because it was ready. I had gotten the proof and I was ready to make the big announcement, and somebody stood up and started talking. And so I was like, okay, I'll wait. They stopped and somebody else started talking. And it happened again. It happened like 6 times. So I was starting to feel a little unsure. And then the meetings started moving on. And I was like, wait. I had something I wanted to share too. But by this time I was feeling a little about it. So I get ready. But then people are talking over the table at each other, having a conversation. And so I just stood there poised, ready. And nobody was listening. I was just completely deflated and I just felt like nobody cared. Nobody, and you can hear my voice, it still bothered me a little bit. And so once attention was given, I just very quickly said, oh, guess what? I got this. Go to my website, blah, 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 and sat down. But I still felt really ick about it. The next morning, when I woke up, I was still feeling ick about it. And I got to thinking, why? Why was this bothering me so much? How or why did these two incidences affect me so differently? In that moment, in the airport with total strangers, I was okay taking up space. I could take a stand and speak up for myself. But when I was with my people, the people I really admire and care about, that one left me hurt. And the contrast really struck me. And it really got me digging in a little bit deeper as to why. Because the core emotion was the same in both instances. It was feeling unseen. It was feeling invisible. Nobody was paying attention to Rainey. When I was with strangers, I could assert myself because I didn't care what their opinion of me was. But then when I was with my group of people, I turned all of that inward and I let it open that old wound up again. So I got quiet instead of being clear, and I got sad instead of standing my ground. And here's the truth, that neither are great responses, but they're the two that I had. What would be the perfect response in both situations is just to quietly stand up for myself, be somewhat enthusiastic, go, hey, it's my turn, I'm here, hear what I have to say, and not be worried about it. But in this situation where I thought about how both of them did bother me, and I can look at it now and say, there is a reason. I need to get a little bit curious just to see why or what wound that is that it opened up for me. It's my desire to be seen, to be heard, to feel like I matter. Is any of this resonating with you at all? Have you ever had any of those moments where you felt spoken over or dismissed, just unseen? They're not always big things, and maybe your reaction wasn't as significant as mine, but often they are old things, that tender place that whispers to us, do I matter? And when we see that, when we hear it, then we have a choice. Are we going to let it harden us? Are we going to let it harm us? Or are we going to let it heal us? So I want to make a pact with you. And I want us to say, the next time we feel unseen or unheard, let's pause and ask ourselves, is this about me? Or is this about them? Is it about now? Or is it about then? Because let's face it, 9 times out of 10, when someone says or does something that hurts us, it's not about us. It's about them. They are just moving through their own distractions, their own stories, their own pain. And our reaction, it is so often tied to something deeper and something old, something that we thought we left behind. And it was something that we tried to bury down underneath our smile that we keep putting on. But here's the great news. Recognizing it is the best part. That recognizing a trigger is all part of the healing. It's like shining a light on that part of you that's waiting to be seen, especially in those messy moments, and even those ones that make us feel really tender. And that was what this was for me. It was a tender spot. But the two of us, let's just remember, our voice, our presence, our value, none of that needs applause for it to be real. We do not need permission to take up space. These moments may sting, and it did, but they can also shape us if we let them. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to lean into it. I'm going to try to learn from this. So if you're walking that same path with me, just know that I see you, I hear you, and you are not walking alone. I am Resourceful Rainey, and here is to fresh starts, fearless moves, and never shrinking in the moment. I'll see you next time.